Hi ladies, I hope you've been enjoying the Ayurveda module with Camille. It's a pretty amazing science, isn't it? Ayurveda has had a profound effect on my life. In fact, it's been completely life-changing. My life would be completely different if I hadn't turned to Ayurveda 15 years ago when I was burnt out from the corporate life and escaped to the Bali Hills. But I did, and it entered my life at that stage and changed the events that happened after it in such a dramatic way. It's hard to believe it when I look back. So I wanted to share that story with you and talk to you about the ways in which it made the most incredible highs happen in my life today. So back in my 30s, I arrived in Ubud, completely burnt out from working in the corporate sector. At the time I was working as marketing manager for David Jones in Australia, doing what I thought I should do, running in the fast lane as marketing manager, setting up fashion shows and fashion production, really burning myself out in this bid to be successful and to get ahead. And so I came to Ubud in Bali for the first time, and I went to a wellbeing resort. And I decided to check in and do a program that I had heard was supposed to be good for you, and that was yoga. I'd never done it before, I'd never wanted to do it before, and if truth be told, I didn't even want to do it when I was there, but I heard it was supposed to be good for you, so I allowed myself to be curious around it. The resort also had something that I had never heard of before, which was called Ayurveda. And it was very much a slow burning start to that relationship too. Like yoga, I didn't like Ayurveda either. I'd come from being in this really busy, frantic lifestyle where the only speed I knew was flat out, you know, in that fast lane, driving on the motorway, hurtling down, 100 miles an hour and just not stopping. My adrenal levels were through the roof. I was always on, and I kind of felt comfortable always being on. Always being on kind of that edge, reaching for the right answer, multitasking, doing a million things at once, because I worried what would happen if I slowed down. I knew it didn't feel good being that fast, but it was a scary concept for me being able to actually slow down. But something led me to this place and to this wellness resort. And so I thought, look, I'll give it a go. So I did yoga for the first time, hated it. Showed up every day though, because I made that promise to myself, and then slowly began to feel different. And I signed up to do the Ayurveda. So I sat opposite an Ayurveda doctor called Dr. Sujata, who said she needed to bring me back down into my body because I was so entrenched in my mind and so busy and so up here, I'd lost all connection with my actual physical presence. Have you ever experienced that before, where you just feel like you're always in your head, you're always somewhere else other than right here, right now? And I've been leading my entire working life that way until that present moment. So it was quite confronting at the time. I was like, oh wow, isn't that just normal? Isn't that what people do? I'm busy, I've got lots on my plate. But I also knew that I would get home from work at night time and it would take me hours to wind down. I wasn't sleeping properly, I wasn't eating properly, I was stressed. Some days I just feel so stressed, I just want to scratch my skin off. What a place to get to. And so it was through this process of slowing down, it felt like I'd almost had a head-on collision from going that fast and that extreme to something that was just so slow moving. And it didn't feel good at the start, but I'd go along and I'd get these Ayurveda treatments, Abhyanga, Alakazi, Udvatana, all of these really restorative treatments that were designed to bring me back into my body. And it was through these treatments that I started to feel like I was coming alive. I started getting these energy surges through being still. I mean, how crazy is that? I'd always been a fan of doing things that were fast, going hard out at the gym, wakeboarding, consuming my weekends with just being on and achieving and achieving and achieving, doing a million things at one time. And here I was, and I was being tasked with doing nothing but just being. They kept reminding me to, be present, Janine. Be in the moment, Janine. All you need to do, don't watch TV, don't look at your laptop, just be here and enjoy that stillness. And so it was everything that I was scared of, and it was everything that I didn't think was good for me. But it ended up being extremely transformational. And after the 10 days that I was there, I felt so different. I felt like I'd come alive. And it was there that I came up with the idea for Escape Haven, because I recognised the transformation I was going through and thought, what if other women could experience this? But instead of being at a big resort where I was just doing it on my own, what if they could come together as a small group in a sacred, luxurious sanctuary for women and work on their well-being? And so that's how the idea was formed, through that transformation I went through, and also through Ayurveda and yoga being the gateway into that. When I moved to Bali, and Bali was never on the cards, so some of you that know my story know that I went to set up in Brazil and it failed and I lost almost everything, and then I ended up being pulled back to Bali. And I would go and see Dr. Sujata every 2 years, and I would do different Ayurveda cleanses. And it became my medicine. It became the thing that I knew I could turn to at various stages of my life that would bring me back to me, bring me back and restore balance in my life. And I ended up meeting the love of my life when I was in my 40s, so at 41. And thought about having kids for the first time. I'd never thought about having kids before. Well, I'd sort of maybe kind of entertained the idea, but thought maybe it's not the path for me. It's always difficult, I think, to make that decision until you meet the love of your life, and then you decide. And we decided, hey, let's have kids when we were 42. So we went to see a fertility specialist in Auckland, Fertility Associates, and they said, look, you guys should probably go on IVF. Your chances realistically of getting pregnant naturally is 5% if you try for an entire year. And I thought, oh, that's pretty crap. I hate being a statistic and I don't want to accept that. So we came back to Bali and didn't give it much thought. Went and did our Ayurveda cleanse, and it was the first time I'd done it with Trent, my husband-to-be at that stage. And we did the cleanse, and the very next month we got pregnant. How amazing is that? We didn't try for a year, and we certainly weren't in that 5% category. And it was wonderful, had a beautiful pregnancy, it was amazing. Then I got struck with a terrible life-threatening illness, which was bacterial meningitis, a very bad case of it, where I was losing my sight and my hearing and having all sorts of strange things happen. And I spent 3 weeks in hospital after giving birth to Indy here in Bali. And I was pumped full of antibiotics and had chronic fatigue. I survived it, which was wonderful, and it gave me a complete new appreciation for life. I've always loved life, but boy did I love it so much more when I realised how it wasn't a given. It's a privilege, and it's up to us, to make the most of it. And anyway, it was a year-long recovery from that. So I was blessed to be able to make it out of hospital, and slowly got back on my feet. And we did another Ayurveda cleanse, and I was in my mid-40s then. We were 44 at the time. And we were told that if we wanted to get pregnant at that age, it would be a 1% chance. If we tried to get pregnant for an entire year, we had a 1% chance of doing it. Hating to be a statistic, we went and did a ghee cleanse. I wanted to get all of the toxins that were in my body, all of the residual antibiotics out, and wanted to restore balance. We hadn't even, really considered, after we'd been told that, the idea, or toyed it around, but thinking that we were going to get pregnant again. And lo and behold, after doing another Ayurveda cleanse, it was a completely different cleanse. It was at a different place this time, because the clinic I normally went to was having renovations, and I like quiet places. We got pregnant again. Unbelievable. And so I guess my point is that Ayurveda brings such incredible and restores such incredible balance in the body, which obviously is a great place for, to be when you're looking at fertility. But beyond that, it's allowed me to get clarity on where I wanted to go in life. It enabled me to have the guts and the courage and the conviction to chase after my dreams and to ask myself those hard questions, 14 years ago when I was sitting up in Ubud. And it's allowed me to overcome like serious illnesses or times in my life of great stress when I was setting up this business, being able to escape and being able to do that. So it was just such a joy to be able to bring Ayurveda onto our retreats 4 years ago. It ended up being our most popular package because women, once they've done it, it's like this well-kept secret that you sort of tell your friend. It's not mainstream yet, is it? You don't hear of too many people doing Ayurveda. But it's when you experience it, you really understand the impact and the effects that it has. And so I encourage any of you, wherever you live around the world, if you have the opportunity to experience Ayurveda, you've now found out through this module more about your dosha and about your profile and how to live better with Ayurveda in your life. You can easily continue that journey as well. And, I would love to hear your stories if you do that. Don't give up hope no matter what you're going through, because on the other side of challenge is, amazing things that can happen with the right help. So I hope you have taken something that might resonate with you from my story. I've really enjoyed sharing it with you. Bye for now.